Okay, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back. Look, Chris Eubank Sr. has spoken, right? It's no secret to the world that Chris Eubank Sr. is not happy with the proceedings that's going on with the up and coming bout between his son, Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, right? So we're revisiting the whole circus that happened a couple of years ago when they tried to get this fight on, and Chris Eubank Sr. was adamant saying the fight ain't gonna happen. And guess what? The fight didn't happen. It was cancelled. We know the whole situation with the PEDs, the eggs, and stuff like that, right? Chris Eubank Sr. has, I would say, he's suffering at the moment. You can see he's suffering with some type of mental issues, and I believe it stemmed from the passing of his son a few years back. He's never been the same since then. We've seen like some strange videos that have come out on the man and stuff like that. Well, a lot of us have had to excuse it, and because we know what's happened to the man. Listen, I've met Chris Eubank Sr. On a couple of occasions. One time, memorably, in the Mayfair bar in the Mayfair, London. Right, he was very eccentric. He had a lot of attention when he walked into this bar. A lot of people on him, Chris this, Chris that. He was bubbling up and down here and there. I took a picture of him, as you can see right here, and he was more than happy to take the picture. He was soaking up the limelight, right? And I've heard a few people suggest that the rift between the two, father and son, obviously it started before Chris's brother passed away, Chris Senior's son. It's all started before that. We could see there was something going on before that, but now it is intensified, It's like Senior wants to control Chris. It seems that way anyway. I don't want to get into family business and stuff like that, but it just seems like he wants to be part of Chris's management team to advise Chris where he should go with his career and who he should fight. But Chris has decided to do it himself, and it seems like Senior's not too happy about it. And now he's come out and has publicly damned his son and condemned him for some of his actions, which I would say this personally, you should never air your dirty laundry, okay? That's one of my sayings. I mean, not my saying, but it's a saying that I kind of tell people, you shouldn't air your dirty laundry. If there's problems within the family, keep it in-house, sort it out, and don't make a mess of it. But obviously Chris suffering in a different way. We don't know what he's been going through, and he's publicly come out and slammed his son for this whole situation that's going on. The whole egg thing, stuff like that. He's been very critical on Junior. And do you know what? A lot of people might think, oh, why is he doing this? And myself, like, why is he doing this? But I've actually sat down and thought about it. He's trying to get through to his son, to tell him, son, this fight is dangerous for you. The hydration. The last time these guys tried to fight you, they tried to suck you down to 157, right? Now, they're letting you fight at 160, but they're putting a cap on your hydration. It's dangerous. I will agree with Chris. This sort of stuff is dangerous. Senior, I agree with Senior. This is dangerous, right? Fighters get hurt. Look at Kell Brook when he fought Triple G, right? Fighters get hurt when you do stuff like this. And he's calling for the wider public, the fans and media to call this stuff out. If we can call out PEDs and say PEDs is a bad thing, and we know we've got a section of boxing fans who adamantly do not like PEDs and say this, we should be eradicated from our sport, we don't want it, we don't need it, you're a PED cheat, F him, he's a PED cheat, right? Then you've got to get onto the promoters and say, hey, look, you can't match these two guys up. Someone's going to get hurt. He's way too big for him. Or he should be fighting at his correct weight. You can't suck him down like Canelo style, putting people on hydration clauses and stuff like that. There are sections of boxing fans who believe this is just as bad as PEDs. I personally do as well, right? All this sucking people down to certain weights, putting a cap on them. I mean, whoever's gone out for the day and not had anything to eat and gone to work would know exactly what I'm talking about here. Have you ever been to work and not had no food? And your stomach's rumbling and you feel lightheaded, lethargic. Imagine fighting in that type of condition, right? That's just, you only got to think about it in that way to understand what I'm trying to say. But look, I know I keep saying this, but I'm going to go live soon, very soon, before the fight, because I need to break down a few things, because I watched the 2 fights between Chris Eubank Sr. and Michael Watson. I watched those fights when I was a kid. Both fights, right? And it was a very iconic moment in British boxing, right? It actually changed the landscape of British boxing, right? It changed how British boxing worked in the UK. And it's a fight that will never be forgotten. It'll go. Listen, this bout between those 2 guys will go down in British boxing history. It'll never be forgotten fight. You know, unfortunate that Michael Watson came worst off out of the fight, but you know the legacy of the man definitely lives on.